Dear Drickus, last week someone lamented that this guy got no media coverage because he had just over 1,000 engagements. This week, the same reader will be glad to know that Drickus du Plessis is our top story. Well, unless you count the ICJ ruling this afternoon and the Rise Mzansi manifesto. Okay, it's not the top story, but it's my column, so we're talking about Fight Club. I know you should never talk about Fight Club. That's rule number 1. But here we are ignoring rule number 1 and 2, and we'll stick with rule number 3, which is everyone must fight.
And the 8th and final rule. If this is your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight.
You can ask me any question, but sport is the category on Trivial Pursuit that I falter on every time. So I'm not going to pretend I know anything about the UFC, but I do know about media engagement. The world champ received over 65,000 posts with an engagement of 2,999, of which 93K of that engagement happened directly after the fight. I watched him being crowned King of the Ring, and he said 2 things in less than 3 minutes that I don't understand. One was this statement. Hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie.
Suid-Afrika, nou weet hulle wat ons weet.
Say, hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie.
Okay, wow.
There we go. Say,
Okay.
hulle weet nie
Weet nie.
wat ons weet nie.
And 2, let's stop the farm murders.
I just get this opportunity on the biggest stage in the world to say, let's stop the farm murders, and I want the world to see what's happening in South Africa.
Look, I've been checking this out, and one thing is for sure. Drickus needs media training. I watched an international interview where he sat next to a pretty lady who asked him about South Africa's government, to which he replied that we have the worst government in the world.
Our government. I would go the worst government in the world by a long shot. I would say our government is...
Factually, he is wrong, but I hear him. And South Africa hears him. The American host pressed him and said, well, I think our government is pretty bad. In his response, he took up the challenge with a firm, no, you don't understand. There's none worse than ours.
as far ahead in being the worst government in the world than Max Verstappen is at this stage the Formula One champion of the world. I mean, there's just nobody's going to compete with him. We are truly exceptionally being a government.
The Department of Sports was livid. Experts were called in and were told we are certainly not the worst government in the world. We are ranked 70 out of 150 or something like that. I have so many questions. First, how does one measure the worst government in the world? Is it a competition where we submit answers about the level of fraud or corruption? Or do we send murder stats? Or do we package it into a PowerPoint presentation? Because if we did, can we please make it clear that farm murders, though horrific, are not just about farmers. They're about farm labourers too. Why would you take your 15 minutes of fame and use it to do reputational damage to your country? Look, he made it clear South Africans are good, but the government is bad. Well, not bad. In his words, we are truly, exceptionally, SH1T at being a government.
We are truly exceptionally being a government.
He actually said that. Media training? Anyone? Many South Africans thought he spoke from the heart, and I get it. We've got a dreadful government, but we have a nation of giants. I think he tried to take a leaf out of Siya Kolisi's book and thought he'd give the speech of his life while he was punch drunk. What he should have added to Hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie is, South Africa has got its problems, but I want to say to the Oaks at home, is that we are fighters, and here I am living proof of that. And we have to keep up the good fight, South Africa. See? Good speech, eh? If he wanted to use the platform to rile up the government, he could have spoken about how we are the rape capital of the world, and today 15 women and 3 children will be killed. But you know, that's not what the Cape Independence Party is about. Oh yeah, did I mention that? Drickus, from Hartbeespoort, Hartjes, is a poster boy for the Cape Independence Party. Kip. So basically, he's that guy.